Here we have all our Cockpit parts. I don't have the front console. I'll deal with that as a separate issue later. So we've got the tub, which comes in 4 parts. 1, 2, 3 and 4. This robust part aids the undercarriage going up and down, movable. You can see the quite heavy duty forks there. The seat has injector pin marks and very basic. I won't be clearing them, I won't be removing them because by the time the pilot sits in there we ain't going to see much of it anyway. What else we got? Rudders there, nice and crude. Side console, all these parts are cleaned up by the way. Other side, gear stick. I think this part goes under the seat, and the rest you can see here. Next thing to do is to get all these painted and try and do them justice. So I shall get on with that. So for the interior grey, I've used this XF22 and then added quite a bit of the XF24 dark grey. I used sky grey to tone down my customised colour, and now just spray from above in one direction. With both those colours applied, I sealed them all in with a Tamiya gloss varnish. Now, I don't know whether the camera on the phone can pick it up, but it's very dark. So dark, so scary. So the next thing for me to do is to try and not only pick out the highlights, but just to lighten this a bit. And hopefully I'm going to do that using oils. Just 2 basic colours, white and black mixed in. Maybe a hint of olive green. Give this area a lighter feeling. Now I've added the oil brushwork to the surfaces. Hopefully you can see a bit more definition. I've broken up them flat areas, made them look a bit mottly. Totally unrealistic, but hopefully pleasing to the eye. Gives you a bit more contrast. The oil colours I've used black, white and olive green, and then once it's dry I shall add an enamel wash over these parts as well to really add some definition. Here we have all the Cockpit parts now, dirtied up, given a wash. I also used as well as the MIG dark brown wash, I used also the black wash as well. So let's get this thing assembled. So I've got these last two components to add. Get it in place and glue it from underneath. So I'm just going to let it sit like that until that sets reasonably well, and then when it has, I'll do this piece on the other side. Here we have the finished cockpit. So I've got the front console, the main undercarriage and the prop to clean up and paint. Here we have all the parts from the Airfix kit that's supplied to make the front console. There is a lever to add, but I've left it on its gate so I don't lose it. Quite nicely detailed. And the gun sight. And the two transparent pieces. Now there's no decals supplied with the Airfix kit. So I had a look online and I found only about £4 or £5 I think. It's really cheap fix. Air scales, instrument panel decals. Get a one-piece decal sheet for the upper and lower. Get some more dials there, I'm not too sure what they're for at the moment. And you also get this plastic sheet, as they call it. This, you will make a couple of parts the same shape as this, so you'll place that on top there and cut out that shape. Same with the lower. Place it on there, cut out that shape. And the idea is, I think, is take all these bezels off, put the decal sheet on top there. The piece you've cut out of this plastic sheet you place over the top, and then that all goes behind your panel. With, of course, making sure that this is thinned down considerably because it is quite thick. So I think that's the idea, and with that I'm going to spend the next 20 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is, sanding the life out of these parts here. So you can see how much I've taken off. Sanded off the bezels, and I've just given a white coat of paint there. I don't think the decals are translucent, I think they are opaque, but just in case. See, I've sanded off the bezels there on that one, painted them. I've cut out the transparent parts that the air scales give you. I've made it slightly smaller than the actual part. Same goes for the top of the console. Cut it out, just made it slightly smaller. So I shall start applying these decals and see how they go. Just gonna let them dry. Right, I apologise for not showing you the previous steps to get to this stage, these two assemblies. Adding the plastic sheeting for the lenses, and then adding the actual Airfix parts over that. So we've got 3 pieces in there. So that film that Airscale supplied us is sandwiched in between the 2 Airfix parts. So I don't know whether you can see that. So for what it cost, I think it was a 500 or fiver. That's a vast improvement on what I had to work with from Airfix, so I'm quite happy with that. The bottom piece. Now I've got the gun sight to add. but that will be left off and added at a later date because I can guarantee I will knock it off. Also, there's that little lever to add as well, and that will be left off and added at the very last minute because I will catch and knock it off as well, or lose it. So those two parts will be put to one side in a safe place and added later. So these two parts, using that bracket at the back and that little lug, should fit like that. So I'll do that now, and then we'll have another look at this console. So there we are, that's set, and I think for what it cost me, it polishes up the kit's parts beautifully. That works a treat. It ain't going to win any prizes for detail, but as a quick update on the Airfix parts, I'm happy with that. So I'll leave it to one side to dry, and I think we'll get on with the either the prop or the undercarriage next. Right, now I can show you about the main undercarriage, what I've done and how far I've got. Let's start off with the easiest parts, the main undercarriage guard. There are a couple of pinholes there to fill in, but saying that, by the time you put the tyre on, I needn't have bothered. Just need to check whether there's any sort of surface detail on these guards. Need to check that, any riveting or whatever. Next, the legs, clean these up. Added a brake line, a couple of bits of Tamiya tape. This looks all very basic round here, looks quite horrible, but by the time you get the guard on and the tyre on, you ain't going to see a lot of it, so there's no point going overboard with that. That's my excuse anyway. So they're done. Now I was starting on the hubs, and these two were still on the gate, beautifully intact, sharp as the day they were born. These two, I don't know why I didn't notice at the time, was stuck to the actual base with something. I don't know what it was. You can see there's some residue there, whatever. I just thought it was glue or varnish, but they peeled off quite easily, and the plastic was still soft with it, whatever it was. I left them to the air to try and dry them out, but still no good. Took a file to it and it was just like fining rubber. Whatever it is, over all these decades, still isn't set. So that was no use to me. I ended up having to make a mould from the good one. I don't know if you can see the difference. One's furry, one's sharp. So I made a silicone mould using foam board around the edges. I don't use Lego anymore now. A nice shallow one, and created some new parts to replace those two furry ones. Still got to take the plug off and clean them up. So that solved that. While I was mixing the silicone, I thought I'll make a bit more and I'll just cast the tyres. No real reason, no need to, because the tyres look fine. Bit of sanding on top there, they'll be fine. But I thought, while I'm casting, let's give it a go, just as a backup plan. So I made a cast of this part. And here we have the results. As I said, they still need cleaning up. Just in case I want to create a very good flat spot, I don't know yet. It's done now and it's there just in case I decide to go that route. But the problem I've got two nice cast parts. And the nice thing about the original parts is that they're a very tight tolerance fit, but they're supposed to be like that. So here it click there, you've got a nice secure fit. So what I'm trying to say, there's a bit of give in these two parts, or in the tyre part anyway, just so you've got a secure fit. Resin on resin, that ain't going to happen. So if I do go this way, I will have to take something off the inner circle there. I've just got to get on now and paint these up. I just want to talk about the wings before I put them together. You get two cannons, or machine guns. So you can see I've cut the barrel off, but you can see there's no point messing around with them because by the time you close the wing up, you're not going to see anything except the barrel sticking out. So I've cut the barrels off so I can add them later. And then I've created this plastic tubing. Once they're cleaned up, the barrels, I can slot them in there right at the very end. So this gives me a chance now to glue the wings, attach that shroud and the ailerons. The next problem will be these wheel wells. Now I've got an idea as a quick fix. I'm not going to go overboard, but I can't have them like that. Even in 172, I couldn't leave them like that. Although these days with modern kits you wouldn't get that. So I've got a couple of ideas. I'm favouring one at the moment, but I'll get to that in the next shots.